Robinson, the caretaker of 6, Willie's home run. Here's number 7, Emoji, Hanover. Tyler Jones drives for trainer Luke Blay. Determination, the owner. Hanover Shoe Farms Incorporated, the breeder. Jamie Litt, the caretaker of 7, Emoji, Hanover. Number 8 in the field, Drawn Impression. Driven by Louis Waugh. Luke Blay trains for Determination, who's also the breeder. Caretaker of 8, Drawn Impression, is Andrian Fontaine. Scratch the 9 and 10. That's your field for the $210,000 Grade 2 Armbro Flight Final. It starts the $100,000 guaranteed all stakes pick 5, post time in 5 minutes.
Welcome to Woodbine Mohawk Park. It is Pepsi North America Cup night. We are drawing closer to the main event this evening, the $1 million Pepsi North America Cup. Just in the midst of an incredible undercard here tonight as we welcome you to our bonus coverage tonight here on PrimeTime Racing. We'll be streaming here the first couple of signature races as part of the undercard here this evening. And then, of course, we'll be on Game Plus TV. Switching gears a little bit later, 1 hour special covering the Roses Are Red and the $1 million Pepsi North America Cup. Mark McKelvey, what a night it has been so far. Fireworks already, some big miles, including a 148 effort we just saw. So really conditions are ideal tonight. We've got the crowd, we've got everything set for a big Pepsi NA Cup.
Yeah, you're right about that. Mother Nature earlier in the week, it didn't look too promising for tonight, but my favorite Cup stat, 41 Cup races, 41 times it's been on a fast track, and it looks like we're going to make that 42. The conditions maybe a little on the cooler side, but you throw a sweater on, you feel good, and we are set and already rolling. Like you said, the speed has been showing up, and you can expect that as we move forward through our major stakes finals here on Primetime Racing.
And we aren't going to waste any time tonight. We're diving right in. We've got the Armbro Flight Final coming up here, a $210,000 contest. This for the older trotting mares. We have 2 scratches in the field here. Yeah, the outside 2 both came out. There was an earlier scratch, and then number 10, Chuck was taken out. Not sure if it really impacts the final result a whole lot. I mean, perhaps one of them would have been trying to leave and get into the mix here, but I think most of the key contenders are still in it here, and we see it reflected in the betting board right now.
Yeah, you look at that betting board right now, and it's 6-5 on the 5 dial square, 9-5 on the 4 Call Me Goo. Call Me Goo is last year's winner of this event. At that time, though, was trained by Jason Skinner, And then not too long after that victory, there was a bit of a change to the connections, and this one moved over to the trotting master, Åke Svanstedt. He's a big fan of this horse, and he really had her peaking towards the end of last season. She had a couple of big victories, including a win in the Breeders' Crown. So she tries to double up. It's kind of rare, Greg, to see a horse come back for the double in a stakes event and potentially do it with two different trainers, but that is the case here. It was to be a three-headed monster for Svanstedt in the 4 Call Me Goo, the 5 Dial Square, and the 9 Nelson Bright Eagle, but Nelson Bright Eagle comes out, so instead it's just a 1-2 punch, but a very nice 1-2 punch that's taking a lot of support.
Lots of great Canadian content here. Drawn Impression and Emoji Hanover leave side by side for trainer Luke Blais. And the champion filly Willie's Home Run, real nice bounce back for her a week ago, maybe signaling she's ready to get back into the win column.
She was huge, and here tonight she's going to have Tim Tetrick driving, and he knows how to win big-time races. We'll see if she can keep the momentum going for local connections that are already off to a real good start this evening.
Chad Rosema, he's pinch hitting in the booth tonight. He'll be calling his first Pepsi North America Cup later. He's got the call of our Armbro flight right now.
Tim Tetrick. A big difference in odds at 13-1, 9-5 on the 4 Call Me Goo, the defending champion of the Armbro flight. It's the Grade 2 Armbro flight final, and it's post time. Here they come. Field of 8 gather speed. And away they go. They're off and trotting. And leaving out of their inside is Bravo Angel. Call Me Goo's going to go out of there with her. From the inside, MM's Dream down the center dial square, driving out as well, Drawn Impression. Then the last 3 in the field. Willie's Home Run to the inside, Golden Rain early trailer is going to be Emoji Hanover. Battling into that opening turn, Gingras on the inside. Looks like he wants to control things with MM's Dream. She gets her wish. It's MM's Dream to take them to the opening panel in a snappy 26-4. Svanstedt ducks down into the deuce with Call Me Goo. Bravo Angel trots 3rd, Drawn Impression 4th. Dial Square off the early speed from 5th as they come up to 3/8. Then it is Willie's Home Run is 2 in front of Golden Rain and trailer Emoji Hanover. Single file group of 8 are chasing early leader MM's Dream, showing the way at 12-1. Call Me Goo races patiently here in the pocket. Bravo Angel 3rd. Drawn Impression angled to the outside. She'll be first up out of 4th. Dial Square is going to work with cover 2nd over, halfway home in just 56 seconds. Advantage MM's Dream. Call Me Goo in 2nd. Drawn Impression on the outside advances 1st over, 3rd inside 4th. Bravo Angel 2nd over, well spotted. Dial Square pace will quicken here though now. 3rd over, Willie's Home Run. Then Golden Rain and trailer starting up Emoji Hanover. They're heading to 3/4 and it's MM's Dream on top by a length. Gingras goes to work on MM's Dream. 1:24 and 2 3/4 and they swing for home in the Armbro flight and it's MM's Dream on top. In the pocket, Call Me Goo off cover. Here comes Dial Square unleashed by McDonald. And Dial Square ranges right up on the outside and takes over the lead. MM's Dream tries to battle back. Call Me Goo up the inside. Willie's Home Run down the center and Bravo Angel. It's Dial Square and Call Me Goo to decide it. Dial Square holds on for the Armbro flight score. It's Dial Square over Call Me Goo in 1:51-4.
1-2 finish for trainer Åke Svanstedt. His Call Me Goo runner-up, James McDonald, absolutely trips out Dial Square, and the mare knew exactly what to do with it. She's up in time, 51-4, big speed on the end of it. And Willie's Home Run, another good effort. She closed well into that quick final quarter and was a solid 3rd.
Yeah, she raced really well, did Willie's Home Run, but Dial Square, you talk about the trip. I mean, James McDonald drew it up perfectly here. A 2nd over trip, and this was a tough week for him because he jumped off of Willie's Home Run, who he won the elimination with, to drive Dial Square, who he did not drive before. Åke Svanstedt asked him because he wanted to stick with Call Me Goo. He wanted Dexter Dunn to drive Nelson Bright Eagle. James had to jump off a horse that he's won multiple O'Brien Awards with. He goes to Dial Square. He might sleep a little easier now getting that victory. I know it was tough on him. Willie's Home Run, though, she raced real great. She ends up finishing 3rd, but it was that Svanstedt formidable duo that we talked about that finishes 1-2. And how about this? Dial Square, a new recruit to North America for Svanstedt, had been racing in Sweden. He told me last week that she was like top 5, he said, in Sweden, but never won a race last year. I'd like to see what the top 4 are like, because she's come here and she's taken this continent by storm.
Yeah, that's a great point. And for James and McDonald, you're right. That's the tough part of the business that we don't talk about a whole lot. Now, we're not going to feel too sorry for him, right? You're
No.
getting, you're in that position where you're getting to choose from the best, but you're disappointing certain people, and there's that little bit of politics, if you want to call it that, involved. And but James is a pro, highly respected, and I'm sure the other connections will understand, and they're going to be ecstatic, of course, with Willie's home run and the way she raced as well. But James, he needed that perfect trip. She only got there by a neck or a half a length or so. I think Auke's trotter was really good, but maybe didn't have that late momentum that James had, and that could have been the difference.
Let's go to John Rallis. I got some thoughts on that, but John's standing by with James.
Oh, she was just perfect. She was 2 fingers to drive. Auke said her first start she got a little hot, and then last week she was great to drive, and they've done a great job with her because she was just an absolute dream tonight.
You drew so well, center of the gate. We've seen gate speed from her. We've seen her do it off the pace. For you, what was your game plan going into this race when you saw the draw shook out?
I was just kind of go forward a little bit and see how the race looks, and it looked pretty early like Auke and Yannick had got away well, and Louis was kind of floating for position. I was hoping I could get him in front of me and it would work out the way it did, but sometimes it never works out, and today it did.
Obviously you did book off an elimination winner in Willie's home run, and you picked up this mare here with getting the job done. How tough of a decision was that for you?
Oh, it's very tough. It's a horse I've driven her whole career, and she's given me so many thrills. So it wasn't an easy decision, and it's not one you ever feel good about. But unfortunately, it happens, and fortunately, I ended up in the winner's circle today.
In your first Breeders' Crown, sitting behind an Oka Svanstedt trained filly. Your first Armbro flight, sitting behind an Oka Svanstedt trained mare. I mean, how happy are you to get the trust from such a top barn in the state?
Yeah, he's been one of the greatest trotting trainers in recent history, or in a very long time. So it's just an honor for him to give me the call, and just happy to be along for the ride.
All right, congrats, James. Best of luck.
Thanks, John.
All right, some great comments there from John Rallis with James McDonald, a little bit of the insight into how tough that decision was. But this makes it a lot better, and going to get a nice long look at the mare coming back in front of the big Mohawk Park crowd here this evening. Yes, so again, we jumped on and jumped right into things here tonight, but again, we want to welcome everybody watching tonight on our various social media platforms. A little bit of bonus coverage will be with you for the next 2. We'll take a quick break. We'll throw it over to the simulcast for our 9th race here tonight, and then we'll come back with our 1-hour network special on Game Plus covering The Roses Are Red. Or sorry, the Fan Hanover, I should say. The Roses Are Red. I'm getting way ahead of myself here.
That's already complete.
Yeah, there's so many, it's hard to keep track here tonight. Again, we welcome you right into the Winter Circle location here tonight. This has been an electric spot. Let's look ahead to the NA Cup quickly. Dale Hunter's going to have his crack shot in there. That got a lot of play this week. Of course, the winningest coach in the history of the Memorial Cup, looking to add an NA Cup title. Had a big win on the undercard tonight with a colt named Silverwalls. And I haven't seen too many bigger winter circles than that.
I was trying to think back to the last time I saw a winter circle that big. There had to be pushing 100 people out there. That's the kind of crew they've brought coming from the London way. They had a couple of buses come this way to cheer on Crackshot, but Silverwalls was just in an overnight race, and this is a 3-year-old that's developed very nicely by Dennis Morrissey and had a real good win streak going, and now has started a new one with back-to-back wins here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. But for Dale, he is obviously well known in the hockey circles, maybe arguably the greatest junior hockey coach of all time. Had a pretty good NHL career as well, over 1,000 games, racked up the PIMS, but he knew how to put the puck in the net. I mean, what he's done in the hockey world, I think there's a case he one day goes into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Agreed.
But he's been dabbling in harness racing, typically just kind of at some of the smaller tracks. But as we'll talk about a little bit later on tonight, Crackshot is a horse that he kind of went all in on and has been rewarded very well. And it's great to have people like that coming into the game, supporting the game, and then bringing fans out tonight.
Bringing them by the busload, two of them, in fact. The team team bus was here, and then another bus rolled in later on. Great to see. Yeah, you talked about it. He a fierce competitor, and I mean fierce on the ice, and he still is in the coaching ranks. You know, he's the only NHLer in history, and this is amazing, with 1,000 points and 3,000 penalty minutes. And he's the winningest coach in Memorial Cup history. Got his 15th win at the Memorial Cup this year to take that honor, and tied for the most Memorial Cup titles with 3, capturing it again this year with his dynasty, the London Knights. And he's just having a blast here tonight. He was so ecstatic with his group, and he'll see if Crack Shot can make it the big double tonight and give him the Memorial Cup NA Cup double in the same year. So a lot of fun to look forward to this evening. We've got a good one coming up next. It's the Mohawk Gold Cup. We'll take a break and be back with more on Primetime Racing. And welcome back to the Winners Enclosure here at beautiful Woodbine, Mohawk Park, Pepsi North America Cup night. And what a night it has been so far. And the fireworks just beginning. We've got a good one coming up, the Mohawk Gold Cup. And entered in here last year's winner of the NA Cup, Nijinsky, coming back just early into his 4-year-old season. And it gets us looking ahead, of course, to the main event a little bit later on tonight, the Pepsi North America Cup. Mohawk Park, the third venue that has hosted this event over its rich history. Right now, we want to take a look back, a retrospective look back to the history of the North America Cup. Formerly known as the Queen City Pace, the event was run from 1964 to 1983 at the famous Greenwood Raceway. Second to last edition was won by the great Cam Fella in 1982.
And with that, the Pepsi North America Cup, or at least then the North America Cup, got underway in 1984. Tonight marks the 42nd edition. It was legal notice for Dr. John Hayes that won the inaugural edition.
Fast forward to 1989. The biggest upset in NA Cup history occurred on that night. It was goalie Jeff, the local horse, getting it done, returning 93-60 on the nose.
Throughout the course of this race, it has changed venues a couple of times, and that's exactly what happened in 1994 when the race moved from Greenwood to Woodbine Racetrack, and it was Cam's Card Shark and who else? John Campbell that won the first at the Toronto Oval.
Yes, indeed. John Campbell, you mentioned him, and he is the winningest driver in the history of the event. He's won it 6 times. In fact, did it 6 times in a span of 9 years, his last there in 1999.
A lot of famous horses have won the North America Cup, and in 2000 it was Gallo Blue Chip, one of the richest horses of all time, that took the Y2K edition for Dan Dubé and Mark Ford.
2007, the event moved to its new home and current home, beautiful Woodbine Mohawk Park. 2007 edition there, big crowds, and they continue to today.
Well, after Tell All won the first edition here in Campbellville, the next year it was the GOAT. Some beach, somewhere. I still get chills watching that one back. This place was electric.
2019, the fastest ever edition of this event. One of Nancy Tachter's 2 wins in the NA Cup came with Captain Crunch, a sparkling 147-2.
Maybe they'll challenge that tonight. Last year, Nijinsky, well, he put up a big-time performance, winning a first cup for driver Louis-Philippe Roy and trainer Tony Beaton. Both of them back here this evening.
Where does the time go? Yes, I remember 1984 when it became the NA Cup and Legal Notice, Dr. John Hayes. I remember I watched that best of 84 tape probably 1,000 times.
They used to do
before
those?
you were even born.
Best of tapes.
Yeah,
Didn't you just go on YouTube?
No, and it was the CTA at that time.
Oh, yes.
Canadian Trotting Association did a best of at the end of the year, and I somehow got my hands on that. And I'm sure others watching are in the same boat. And yeah,
you're just chuckling back at that. Yeah, I bet that was a nice thing that you were waiting. Did it come in the mail? How'd you get those?
I can't recall how I got my hands on it, but I'll tell you what, for a kid from PEI, I mean, that was the only chance to ever see those races back then. It was pre-simulcast days, Mark.
I get it.
Pre-internet.
That's fair. I guess that was a time. There's kids now that do technology stuff that I don't quite understand, but I know that I found myself going down the rabbit hole over the years, watching back the past editions of the North America Cup, and it's a race with just so much history, and we're going to add another winner here tonight. It'll be Cup number 42, and it feels like that first one here at Mohawk in 2007 wasn't that long ago, but we're nearly at 20 years since.
Unbelievable. What an intriguing group again this year, right? A lot of different storylines, some local competitors that would be Cinderella stories. You've got guys who've been knocking at the door, haven't been able to get it done. You've got a guy like Anthony Beaton, gets a chance to make it back-to-back and get himself into some rarefied air tonight. So that's a look at the field. We'll see them later in the $1 million Pepsi North America Cup. We got the Mohawk Gold Cup coming up next. This is going to be a good one. This is, over the years, kind of become one of those 2 or 3 most anticipated races on NA Cup night.
It's a race that's an invitational, so you put a lot of pressure on the race office to try and get together the best 10 older pacers that you can. And the purse is $100,000, so it's not the biggest purse you're going to have all season long. For this group, that would be the Canadian Pacing Derby later on. But I think it's the idea of being able to race on Cup night that adds a little more to it. And you look at the field that we got once again, it attracts a who's list, including last year's North America Cup winner Nijinsky, who has come back looking very strong at age 4, and for the first time ever is going to take on older rivals.
All right, we're going to get a look at the field, and also in the group, the 1-2 finishers from the Maneri stable in the Camluck Classic, which you covered there a couple of weeks ago. That was a dramatic event. Irvin Hanover was promoted the winner. He's got post 1 tonight. Doug McNair back on board.
Number 2 is Clever Cody, who was in that Camluck Classic, looking to get things back on track. Was 4th last time out, trained by Dr. Ian Moore, who sends out 2 in the Cup.
Oakwood Arden, a speed baller with a mark of 148. Andy McCarthy driving for trainer Robert Cleary.
Coach's Corner is the 4. This one comes in from New York for trainer Per Engblom, has been primarily racing at Yonkers, a half-mile oval. Jason Bartlett, the top driver there, is going to team up with this guy as he does each and every start.
Nijinsky, winner of the 2024 NA Cup, just 2 starts into his 4-year-old season here. Post 5 to work with tonight. Louis-Philippe Roy back on board.
The 6 Brew Hanover got to the wire first in the Camluck Classic, but was disqualified for going inside pylons. Followed that up by making a statement saying, all I do is win was an impressive winner last week, has been red hot. Yannick Gingras driving for trainer Dave Maneri and Burke Racing.
Coach Stefanos, one of the fastest in North America last year, a 47-3 winner. Irv Miller trains. We'll see if James McDonald can go back-to-back.
He took that one over Brew Hanover. Number 8 is a buck a bet Hanover, competed in last year's Mohawk Gold Cup. I don't think this guy really gets the true love that he deserves. He's a winner of $2.4 million. Dexter Dunn for trainer Andrew Harris.
There's 9, Captain Fear Not. Jody Jameson going to drive this guy. He was a Juravinski elimination winner, and he's won 2 in a row here at Woodbine coming in.
And number 10 is Tarazi, a O'Brien Award winner here as one of the top horses in Canada. Bob McClure will drive for trainer Greg McNair, second in back-to-back starts at the preferred level. He's a career winner of over $750,000.
All right, and we again want to welcome everybody tuning in tonight. Just having a quick look at some of the online platforms here. I've got the HRU feed on, and some of the friends of the show tuned in there. JD Varnell, Mark Anderson, great fans of the show. We can always count on them. Nights like tonight, big fans of the sport. As always, we want to hear where everybody is tuning in from tonight. Drop us a line, or if you got a question, comment. We'll try and get to that here during our first couple of races tonight. As mentioned, following this 8th race, we'll kind of wrap things up. We'll switch over to the simulcast feed, so if you're watching online, hang tight. It'll be moved over to that, and then we'll be switching to the Game Plus TV coverage after that, the network show, 1 hour from 10 until 11 o'clock tonight. Back to the Mohawk Gold Cup, $100,000 on the line. Real intriguing group. First time that a lot of the big boys are banging heads from different venues in North America. Some of them have been racing primarily on the half-mile ovals in the Borgata Series, for example, races like the Camlock, the Battle of Lake Erie. Others have been sticking to the big track, so a nice clash here. Who do you give the early edge to in this point in the season, Mark?
Well, right now, I think Brew Hanover is the right now horse. He came here to Ontario several weeks ago and just went on a lengthy winning streak, and he's got to the wire first in every race since he's been here. Of course, he had that DQ in the Camlock Classic, but I just thought in his last 3 starts, he has looked like a monster, and this is a horse that isn't really staked up to a lot of events this year, so this was kind of an opportunity presented to them when they were invited to this race that they certainly were going to jump at, because, like I said, he's not paid in to race like the Canadian Pacing Derby or some of the bigger states in the South. He can always supplement to those races, but they probably want to see how he stacks up against the horses like a Buck-a-Bet Hanover. Nijinsky, though, a 4-year-old who won the Graduate Series in his last start. By winning that, he opted to stay here at home for trainer Tony Beaton rather than go to the Meadowlands, where they had another leg in that series last night. They really liked that. They wanted him back on the Cup card. I feel like they've got him primed and ready. He's come back looking beautiful. And to me right now, it's a toss-up between those two, and the betting board speaks that. 8-5, 9-5. So not a whole lot separating Nijinsky and Brew Hanover.
Coach's Corner, number 4. I talked about horses that have been racing primarily on the half-milers, and here's a horse that raced throughout that rigorous Borgata Series. Raced very well in that. Raced in the Auger Memorial at Philly. Finished 7th there, bounces right back at Yonkers with a 51-3 win over the half-miler there. I mean, he's not a horse that absolutely has to have a half-mile track. He's good on all sizes, just doesn't have that flashy overall speed record some of the others do, but a winner of $900,000 last year. He's certainly a competitor. Another 4-year-old, Clever Cody. He's sort of been in and out so far this season in 5. I think he's still trying to find his footing as a 4-year-old. He's high speed, and he was much better last time.
Yeah, and he got back to the big track, and maybe he was looking for that. I thought he raced pretty well. David Miller knows him a little bit from last season, and he'll team back up with him for trainer Dr. Ian Moore. A good group of 4-year-olds in this year's Mohawk Gold Cup, which in past years you don't see too many 4-year-olds in that. I mean, there's a veteran on the screen in a Buck-a-Bet Hanover.
You have to admire him, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Old campaigner like that.
Kind of becoming a war horse, and like I said, he's kind of a Rodney Dangerfield. Doesn't get a lot of respect, despite the fact the resume speaks for himself. We should mention the 7, Coach Stefanos. Right now, he's sitting at the board at 11-1. He has not picked up a victory in each of his last 2, but he's last year's Breeders' Crown winner when he swept the field from last. James McDonald drove him, so James decides to take him over Brew Hanover. Maybe that's a vote of confidence.
That's right, and he's been coming back into form in Indiana at Hoosier Park, so he's a bit of an unknown factor at this point in the season coming in here. Great group. Mohawk Gold Cup, 100,000 on the line. Back upstairs to Chad Rosema.
Oh, here, Greg.
He's the slight favorite right now over next-door neighbor Brew Hanover, has just absolutely lit it up since coming here to Canada. 8 a buck-a-bet Hanover, the winner of this race to start 2 years ago, is at 7-2. A lot of fast and rich horses in this 8th race. Should be a fun one. It's post time, race number 8. Field of 10 lined up for the Grade 3 Mohawk Gold Cup. And away they go. They're off and pacing. And Brew Hanover leaving out of there quickly from the 6 hole. Jetting out with him will be Nijinsky. A buck-a-bet Hanover drives out from the 8 hole into the top 3. Irvin Hanover protecting position on the inside, top 4. Then it's Clever Cody to follow him 5th to the opening turn. Oakwood Arden's got a seat 6th. That one's tracked by Coach's Corner. Then Coach Stefanos with a pair beat. Captain Fear Not, early trailer Torasi. Gingras and Brew Hanover lead it through a 26-second opening quarter. He takes him into the backstretch with Nijinsky, the 8-5 favorite, in the pocket. A buck-a-bet Hanover tracking 3rd. Irvin Hanover the 4th one. Clever Cody from 5th. Oakwood Arden 6th. Coach's Corner 7th. 8th is Coach Stefanos. Then it's back to Captain Fear Not and Torasi. Brew Hanover still leading the way over Nijinsky, and a buck-a-bet Hanover stays in. Irvin Hanover first up out of 4th. 2nd over Oakwood Arden to the inside is Clever Cody. 3rd over Coach's Corner. Coach Stefanos to the outer flow as well inside. Captain Fear Not trailing Tarasi. The half was 54-4. 3/8 to go now for Brew Hanover. He's got company, and it's the stablemate Irvin Hanover on the outside. A half length away applying the pressure. Nijinsky, the favorite, in the pocket. Bottled up right now 3rd. Then Oakwood Arden well spotted. 2nd over by McCarthy and ready to tip wide. 121-4, and they race for home in the Mohawk Gold Cup Invitational, and it's Brew Hanover on top. Irvin Hanover on the outside, just up to the wheel, locked up as Nijinsky, nowhere to go right now, bottled up, looking for a way through. A buck-a-bet Hanover. Oakwood Arden tires Coach's Corner. It's Brew Hanover. Nijinsky, one final shot up the inside, but Brew Hanover holds on. It's Brew Hanover over Nijinsky in 147-4.
7-4 is a new life's mark for Brew Hanover in the first day.
Wow, that's a big mile. And we get a look at them here in the run out. Brew Hanover. We thought maybe, Mark, as we were watching, because, you know, in his dominant wins of late, he's been able to kind of get away from them at the top of the stretch and doesn't let them close. Tonight they were right up to him, and you knew they were going to be attacking on all sides. And he shows again that will to win. He couldn't be much better. 26 seconds, he needed every inch of that. Nijinsky got going a little bit too late, but a good effort from him.
Well, and to your point, if Yannick Gingras decides to try and really let him rock, I mean, he went 27 seconds in that 3rd quarter, but he had obviously had a little bit more. If he decides to let him rock, well, then what's going to happen is Nijinsky might get out at some point there. Maybe that's going to start to space them a bit. Maybe that first over horse kind of backs off and Nijinsky gets that room. Yannick, very strategic in that approach there to make sure Nijinsky never got rail space and kept him pinned in for as long as he could, and he gets the job done with Brew Hanover.
There's something about Brew Hanover now in these pylon skimming trips. He was on the right end of it here tonight, able to be on the lead, and Yannick, just maybe making sure he was holding his position until the point he realized, you know, he's home free at this stage, because they're starting to get a little bit tired. The tendency is they want to drift a little bit off the pylons, but Yannick Gingras, that's why he's one of the best in the business. Good effort from Nijinsky, and looks like John Rallis is trackside. We'll throw it over to him now.
With winning driver Yannick Gingras. Yannick, you've gotten a chance to sit behind this guy a few times, and you've had success with him, but never against a group like this. How did he feel out there tonight?
Yeah, he feels great. He's definitely in career form, that's for sure. He drove great, but he was always a willing horse. But like I said, right now, that's a good form spree he's on.
And you know, he's had a tendency as of late to kind of drift out in the lane on the big track. Did he feel like he was veering towards that tonight?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, at the top of the stretch, I knew Nijinsky had pace behind me, so I was hugging the rail pretty good, you know, make sure that he wasn't going to get through. But yeah, he definitely was running out a little bit, but you know, he got the job done.
Obviously, Irvin Hanover was coming to your outside, and you did have Nijinsky to your back. How did he feel turning for home, and were you trying to just keep both of them at bay?
Yeah, I knew I had the outside of the field beat, you know, so I was just making sure that the other one inside of me wasn't going to get through. But yeah, I felt pretty confident halfway down the stretch.
Nice job, Yannick.
Thank you very much.
Back in front of us, the wind machine.
There he is, Yannick Gingras.
Hanover, his latest, a grade 3 Mohawk Gold
Dave
Cup
Maneri,
Invitational
Yannick
United
Gingras.
resume.
Thumbs up there. Clive Cohen, you know, Brian Award-winning Clive Cohen, one of the best photographers in the business here tonight. One of probably a dozen, at least, photographers. That's what I love about NA Cup night. There'll be so many great images caught here from this evening as well. And here's one of them. Brew Hanover, yeah, the beat goes on. He's been, I would say he's been the Cinderella story of the older division this year in Canada. I'm not sure they had, you know, I'm sure they knew he was a nice horse. I just don't know if they thought he was quite this good when he made the move up here.
Yeah, and they sent him up here because there was a racing opportunity for him, and Ron Burke has a really good relationship with trainer Dave Maneri. He'll send him horses, so it made sense to let him come here. He had a winter series to be in, and then you know, obviously if he kept racing well, why wouldn't you leave him here? He's having success, and he's risen to the top of the preferred ranks and is definitely, by virtue of this victory, no doubt about it, he's the top preferred horse here at Mohawk right now, and the record speaks for itself. And Yannick said it in the interview there that he's definitely in career form. This isn't the same horse he drove a while back when that horse was racing in the U.S. He's really put it all together and has been a treat to watch. Dave Maneri had a pretty good 1-2 punch there in the form of Brew Hanover and Irvin Hanover. A few weeks ago, though, people had Irvin Hanover ahead. I think there's no doubt, though. Brew is the top Hanover, so to speak, right now. He is racing terrific right now, and looking ahead, they're probably wishing he was paid into a little bit more, but sure. I'm sure they'll be able to pick their spots, and he's only 5, so there could still be a lot more runway for him.
Yeah, for sure. Nice effort. Never better than tonight. 147.4 is a career best clocking. And it's, you know, not absolutely conducive to record-type miles tonight, Mark. It's cooled off a little bit now. It's still a really nice evening. A little bit of dampness, though, in the air. So that's a sneaky big mile tonight, I think, 47.4, I should say. Nice win price, all things considered, for Brew Hanover. Just shy of $7 for the win ticket return on him. Nijinsky, good runner-up effort. You know, the Connections will be disappointed they didn't win, but I think they've got to be very happy with, you know, where he's at now, 3 starts into the campaign. The veteran of Buckabed Hanover. Tough outside post. He's right there closing on the top 2 at the wire.
Yeah, it's 3 starts for him this year. He hasn't got to the winner's circle just yet, but it is just a matter of time for this Andrew Harris trainee. He's now 7, so I talk about horses still having a lot of runway. He's a stallion. He's a 7-year-old that keeps on going, and his Connections obviously think so highly of him, and I don't think he's necessarily lost a step. It just hasn't really worked out for him yet, as he's been knocking at the door through 3 starts this year.
So Dave Maneri, nice efforts from him, finishing first, 4th there with Irvin Hanover. Tough first over journey against the stablemate there, but he hangs in for a good piece of it as well. So nice to have that kind of power in the barn. One that we won't see from his stable, just announced It's a Love Thing is going to be retired. Last year's winner of the Fan Hanover, and she's going to be going to the breeding shed. Yeah, tough to see that she just wasn't able to come back and ends up having to be sidelined, but her first foal, imagine how much that thing would be worth, and she's going to a real good home. So It's a Love Thing done, but Dave Maneri, the beat goes on. And I hear going to Sweet Lou, and speaking of that, I just caught Lou Print go by me here doing his warm-up mile. Wow, he looks good. All right, we're going to take a commercial break right now, reminding you that we will take a bit of a break following this, and we'll be back on with the network coverage beginning at 10 o'clock on Game Plus of the Pepsi North America Cup, and of course the undercard that Fan Hanover final as well.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Despite the scratch of Chantilly, still a great race to Fan Hanover, and then the main event, the North America Cup. So go to Game Plus or stick right here wherever you're watching us as we're streaming across the world.
Okay, we are going to take the break right now, so we're going to flip over to the simulcast feed, I believe, for the next 15 minutes or so, and then we'll switch over to that network coverage. Thank you for joining us again tonight here on Primetime TV.
Inside is clever Cody, third over coach's corner. Coach Stefanos to the outer flow as well. Inside Captain Fear Not, trailing Tarasti. The half was 54-4. 3/8 to go now for Brew Hanover. He's got company, and it's the stablemate Irvin Hanover on the outside. A half length away, applying the pressure. Nijinsky, the favorite, in the pocket, bottled up right now, third. Then Oakwood Arden, well spotted, second over by McCarthy and ready to tip wide. 121-4, and they race for home in the Mohawk Gold Cup Invitational, and it's Brew Hanover on top. Irvin Hanover on the outside, just up to the wheel, locked up as Nijinsky, nowhere to go right now, bottled up, looking for a way through. A buck a bet Hanover. Oakwood Arden Tires, coach's corner. It's Brew Hanover, Nijinsky, one final shot up the inside, but Brew Hanover holds on. It's Brew Hanover over Nijinsky in 147-4. Here's where they all finished in race number 8 from the top down. 4-8, 6, 5-2-1, 7-3, 9-10 on the bottom. Coming up next, it's the Grade 2 Good Time Stakes Final. Starting the late pick 5. Number 2 Gap Kronos goes open to blind. Will also pull all the shoes. Races barefoot. Number 7 Wild Turkey Hanover changes the shoes behind tonight from steel to aluminum. A little further ahead in race number 10, we've got an additional scratch out of the final of the Grade 1 Fan Hanover. Number 8 West Winds is now scratched sick. Scratched sick is number 8 West Winds, along with the 3 Chantilly, and the also eligible does not draw in. Race number 9, the final of the Good Times, coming up in 12 minutes.
Three minutes to go before race number 9, and this one is a big one. It's the Good Times Final for a purse of over $227,000. We're on the trot. Straight 3-year-old boys to compete in this race in a field of 9. And right now, Randy, a 3 to 5 choice in the 4-horse, that being a Moticon Legacy for Louis Waugh, Luke Blais, and Determination.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they've been kind of quiet tonight. I thought that they were going to have a really, really big kind of a night. Maybe they've been waiting for this one, because to me, this is their power. This is the one that, you know, I would say is their best shot all night. You know, I mean, they got some really, really nice fillies we've seen earlier on with Drawn Impression. And emoji Hanover, but this guy is the brother to Drawn Impression out of the great emoticon Hanover, but just a really, really top individual here. So which replay are we going to show first?
We're starting with Galen Urso.
Galen Urso. Now, I remember, Lisa, last week with this guy, you can see the difference in the time that he's been putting down. McNair sent in a ton of changes, shoes, bridle, everything, and look at the result.
Well, they end up getting a lovely score here in 53 flat at a big price, too. They're basically 30-1 that day when winning. And tonight, I'm a little surprised to see them very cold on the board at 18-1, considering the victory.
I am, too, you know what I mean? But I think it's why it's this part. They're starting to kind of get to him right on the end of it, you know? So maybe there's a few people that think that, you know, he was getting a little bit tired. I will say this, though. To me, Galen Urso is a better horse off of a helmet, not cutting a mile. So I think that there's, with the different kind of trip, I think there's more on the end.
Maybe that's what we'll see tonight. And Moticon Legacy, also a winner of the Good Times Limb. Now, this one is by a sire that you and I absolutely love, and we always play the Walners.
They are just an incredible breed, you know, right from their very first year. They're kind of like a lot what we've seen with Green Manalishi up here. They just dominated their first crop, and he hasn't slowed down a little bit at all, and just really, really love this horse. Like I said, I think that this is their strongest candidate so far. 8 lifetime starts and 5 times he's been a winner. Really, the only time that he gets beat is when he beats himself.
The interesting thing, too, is, you know, we talk about this a lot, you and I. We're used to seeing horses come into the races or back to the races after maybe 2 qualifiers. It seems like lately we're seeing horses come in with just 1 qualifier, but they really took their time with the Moticon Legacy, 4 qualifiers to get ready.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot for Luke. There's no doubt about it. You know, I mean, I think he was just, you know, kind of like qualifying him and then giving him a week off and then just taking his time, you know, never going really crazy fast miles, 57, 58, 57. And then that last qualifier, they rocked him by 14 lengths in 54. First start, first over, winner in 52. He's just a really good colt. And we're looking at a Canadian horse that could potentially be representing Canada down in the Hamiltonian.
That's true. There's actually 5 horses competing in this race who are Hambo eligible. Let's meet the field for the Good Times.
Three-year-old Colton Gelding Trotters for the Grade 2 Good Time Stakes final on Paraders. Number 1, Fadeaway Hanover. Travis Cullen driving. Ben Bergeron trains and owns with Santo Annunzio Venna. Hanover Shoe Farms Incorporated, the breeder. Ashley Leslie, the caretaker of 1, Fadeaway Hanover. 2 is Gap Chronos. Hoka Svanstedt trains and drives for Bruni Racing Team Incorporated. Breeder is Winged Lion Breeding AB. Gap Chronos. Caretaker, Michael Holtzman. 3, Galen Urso. Doug McNair drives, Greg McNair trains. Brad Grant, the owner. Marcus Melander, the breeder. Caretaker is Shelley Henry of 3, Galen Urso. Louis Waugh drives 4, Moticon Legacy. Luke Blade trains for Determination, who's also the breeder. Nadia Carrier is the caretaker of 4, Moticon Legacy. Number 5, LMC Wagon Wheel. The driver, Tyler Borth. Ben Bergeron trains for owner Frank Cirillo. Loredana Cirillo, the breeder. Sarah Bergeron, caretaker of 5, LMC Wagon Wheel. Here's 6 landing on time. James McDonald drives for trainer Rick Zeron. Zeron Marveno stable, James Walker, Robert Cooper stables, Howard Taylor own. Kevin Greenfield, Michael Krebs, and Frank Holland, the breeders. Marissa Wilson, the caretaker. Here's 7, Wild Turkey Hanover, Phil Hunon on the bike. Ron Waples Jr. trains and owns with Dr. Sheila Atmore. Hanover Shoe Farms Incorporated, the breeder. Sheila is the caretaker of 7, Wild Turkey Hanover. 8, Eugene the Genius. Yannick Gingras drives. Missy Essig trains for Russell Beeman and Charles Weaver. Black Creek Farm and Hickory Hollow Stables, the breeders. Missy Essig's also the caretaker of 8, Eugene the Genius. And 9 is Blank. Dexter Dunn to drive. Marcus Melander trains for SRF Stable Holly Lane Studies Limited. Diamond Creek Farm, the breeder. Alexandre LaRoche is the caretaker of 9, Blank. That's your field for the Grade 2 Good Time Stakes final. Up to the gate they go in 5 minutes as we start this evening's late pick 5.
Warming up for the Good Times final, and now's actually a good chance to congratulate John Bax. He, of course, trained Good Times, and he will be inaugurated into the Horse Racing Hall of Fame. So once again, our congratulations go out to John. I'm sure he's here on track to do the presentation as well. We have a late pick 5 that is going to begin here in race number 9 on the program as well. John Rallis has passed along his ticket, a nice skinny ticket. But let's talk about these horses as they warm up, Randy. We're taking a close look at Gap Chronos. Now, they are making some changes here tonight. Open to a blind bridle, and guess what? They're taking the shoes off.
Going barefoot. Yeah, we've been kind of waiting for this move by, Oka. He's famous for this, pulling shoes off of horses, and a lot of people are believers that they trot cleaner and that they trot faster. We didn't used to do that too much up here because we don't usually have the weather for it, but this is a gorgeous track tonight. The weather's fantastic for it, and, when it comes to pulling the shoes on a trotter, I'd never, ever question a guy like Oka, so I'm going to say that this is a good move.
Let's talk about the Xeron trainee, the 6, landing on time, because you think this one could sneak in.
Yeah, he's getting paid good looks right now too at 2-1. I mean, we might be seeing Ricky setting up another horse for the Hamiltonian, much like we saw with Atlanta. He has come out and said a couple of times that that's what his ultimate goal is, to get this guy back down into the Hamiltonian winner circle. So I got him in on the bottom. I think he's been racing amazingly well. He's got different styles to race if they choose to race him that way. So I look at him as dangerous, especially with the 6-hole.
Now, it wouldn't be right if I didn't ask you about your brother's horse in this race. I know your dad's here tonight as well to cheer him on. Your brother, Ron Waples Jr., of course, sending out the 7 Wild Turkey Hanover.
I mean...
Nice, good-looking chestnut, huh?
He is, yeah. And he, Ronnie Jr. goes way back. Like, I mean, you're talking about a guy that campaigned No Sex Please. You're talking about a guy that campaigned Oakley Count. He's had some great trotters over the time, and he's really happy with this guy. And this is a typical Ronnie Jr. trotter. Beautifully healthy, shiny as can be, no head check on, very little equipment. This to me is a trotting trainer. And this guy is really progressing the right way, but it is a huge step up for him.
Well, and you know what? Under the lights, he looked chestnut, but he's just that really
beautiful
neat
bay,
right? All right, so a good group here getting set to go for race number 9. Mike Probosi's late pick 5 up on the screen for you right now as well. Should just mention there are 5 Hambo eligible horses competing in this race. The Hambo, of course, will take place on August the 2nd at the Meadowlands, so they're going to use this one as a stepping stone.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely going to be a prep for them. Now, if we get a chance to see this 5 horse, I would absolutely love that. This is LMC Wagon Wheel, recently gone into Benoit Bergeron's barn, and I think that he put on a vicious move last week on the end of it, and I think he has really progressed since he's gone into Benoit's barn. There he is there. I mean, he's not he's obviously a good looking horse, but not big and rugged, but he's built for speed, and my goodness, can he ever throw down on the end of it. If they get a little crazy in here and go a little bit too quick early in the mile, I think this is the guy that could capitalize on it all, and right now 25-1.
Tyler Borth really has turned into one of Ben's top drivers.
Yeah. He's more or less just an elite kind of a driver. Every time that he races, you can see he's learning and picking up from it. And there was a time when he first came here, he'd make the odd mistake, but now it's really gotten to the point where there's no mistakes that he makes. Just a really top quality driver. And again, another second generation horseman.
Exactly. We've spoken so highly of him over the years, and a big opportunity for him to go for a massive purse here tonight. We've got about 50 seconds on the clock before race number 9. 9th race, once again, will kick off that late pick 5. It's the Good Times final. Good luck with your selections.
Field begins to line up for the 9th race. Grade 2, Good Times Stakes final for the 3-0 Colton Gelding Trotters. Field of 9 assembled. Heavily favored the 4 Moticon Legacy, a winning return to the races for him as he kicked off his sophomore campaign last week with a sharp 52-1 elimination score. The other limb winner is 3 Galen Urso from post 3. Not getting any respect right now at 15-1. Getting plenty of play though as the 6 landing on time. Great draw to work from. He was a rounding second to Galen Urso last week. 9 of them are lined up behind the gate. It's post time for the 9th. Starting gate swings to the top of the stretch. 9 of them lined up for the Grade 2 Good Times Final. Here they come. And away they go. They're off and trotting. And sprinting out of there tonight from the 6 hole, landing on time. Looks for a fast beginning. Galen Urso shows hustle inside. Driving from the outside is Blank. And Dunn's got Blank into play, heading to the opening turn. He'll be wide. Landing on time in between horses. Crosses over to grab the lead. Blank jumped it off. Blank has made a break into the opening turn. So landing on time leads it over Galen Urso with a Moticon Legacy parked and driving on the outside for Waugh. Gap Chronos trots fourth after a 26-4 opening quarter. In fifth, it's LMC Wagon Wheel. Fadeaway Hanover next in line sixth. Then in seventh, it's Eugene the Genius, who's 2 in front of Wild Turkey Hanover, and further back resetting is Blank after the miscue, Moticon Legacy. Parked beyond the quarter, but he leads it now past 3/8. It's a Moticon Legacy on top of length, the landing on time, who works from the 2 hole. Galen Urso trotting third, Gap Chronos in fourth, followed fifth by LMC Wagon Wheel. They're down to the half in 55-1. Fadeaway Hanover continues to trot sixth, ahead of Eugene the Genius seventh. 3 more lengths to Wild Turkey Hanover eighth, and further back to the trailer Blank. It's a Moticon Legacy as Waugh looks over his shoulder. He opens up 2 now. Gap Chronos takes over second on the outside, landing on time, put in a brief step, still trotting there into the top 3, and behind him Galen Urso second over, but gapping right now his cover is LMC Wagon Wheel. 123 3/4, and a Moticon Legacy turns for home, and he's opened up a lead of 3 on Gap Chronos, and landing on time he tries to rally up the inside. Out to about the 3 path is a Moticon Legacy, but he's still clear by 2. Gap Chronos and landing on time, trying to close at him. LMC Wagon Wheel in behind him, but it's a Moticon Legacy good to go. And a Moticon Legacy still clear by 3. Gap Chronos second, landing on time third. LMC Wagon Wheel fourth. 150-2 stakes track record for a Moticon Legacy in the Good Times.
A stake and track record? Come on.
wow.
This is exciting. The Good Times Final will go to a Moticon Legacy, 150-2. This horse's lifetime mark going into this race tonight was 152-1. I mean, we see horses shave a couple of seconds off, but or like, fifths of a second off, I could say, but a couple of seconds, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a big jump down into that 50 range.
No
you just
kidding.
heard Chad, track record, stake record,
Yeah.
not too many 3-year-olds get down into that range, but just incredibly nice horse. Great job done by Luke Blaze, and congratulations got to go out to Determination Stable. They just reinvest every single year, and now they're to the point where they're breeding their own champions.
Wow, a very impressive son of Wallner. If you don't know Wallner, you're going to remember that name for next time you're here at the racetrack. Race number 9, the Good Times Final, goes to a Moticon Legacy.
Four, 2, 6, 5, the unofficial top 4 in the Good Times.
Here alongside winning driver Louis Filippo after a Moticon Legacy gets it done in the Good Times in a stakes and track record. Louis, you've been a runner-up finisher in this race 2 years in a row. How good was it to get this one tonight?
Pretty good. I actually asked that to Luke coming on the track. I said, did we ever win that race together? He said, no, but we've been second. So I said, that's the night tonight.
And, obviously last year when you sat behind this guy, I know he had some quirks. You said that he had a tendency to get a little bit warm. You qualified him on the lead. You raced him on the lead tonight. How did he feel and how has he matured?
Yeah, I didn't necessarily want to race him on the lead again, but leaving the gate and going in the first turn, I thought it was like the best option for me, because otherwise I was gonna have to come first up on the other best 2 that I thought were in the race. So I didn't even see the quarter going at the half. I saw 55-1. I was a little bit worried, to be honest, but the horse just proved he's a different animal.
Obviously, you drifted out in the lane. You had one coming to your outside, one coming to your inside. When you kept this guy to task, were you happy with the way he responded?
Yeah, definitely. The running out was a thing that he never did before, so I'm sure Luke's gonna find a way to get that corrected. But otherwise, he was trotting real good.
All right, we're excited to see what this guy can do. Congratulations, Louis.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, and back in front of us, after winning the Grade 2 Good Time Stakes Finals, the 4 Moticon Legacy. Being crowned, here's the 3-year-old Bay Colt by Wallner. Out of the Cadabra Grade, Emoticon Hanover, the winning homebred for Determination. Luke Blay, the winning trainer. Louis Waugh, the winning driver. Nadia Carrière, the winning caretaker of Emoticon Legacy, is 2 for 2 to start the year. 6th lifetime win. And tonight, it's a lifetime best of 150 and 2. Stakes, track, Canadian record for the 4 Emoticon Legacy. Congratulating the winning connections with the trophy presentation, John Bax, on behalf of the Bax family. John campaigned the great Good Times, among many others. And John, a little bit later on, in a couple of months, he'll be joining the great Good Times in the Hall of Fame. John, part of the 2025 class. Congratulations to Mr. Bax, and congratulations to the connections of 4. A Emoticon Legacy, the winner of the Grade 2 Good Times Final. He pays $3, $230, $210. Second, number 2, Gap Chrono, $720 and $380. Third of the 6, landing on time, $240. $2 exacta, $19.30. $1 try, $30.40. $1 super, $142.15. $2 double, $13.20. $1 pick, $314 and a quarter. Late pick 5 pool, just shy of $75,000. Has $45,797.30 moving on. All stakes pick 5 pool update, $6,491.40, still going strong. And the pick 6 has $834.51 remaining in live money. Coming up next, it's race number 10. That's the Grade 1 final of the Fan Hanover Stakes.
Here alongside winning trainer Luke Blay after Emoticon Legacy captures the Good Times here for for owner Determination. Luke, you know, how has this guy developed coming into his 3-year-old campaign?
Well, this year was a different horse. Last year it was a little bit anxious, and you don't know to control his emotion, I think. But this year, I think we know him more easy. I start differently with him and work out, you know. Yeah.
And obviously, you've trained a lot of incredible trotters. You know, what's the ceiling of this guy? What do you think he can do this season?
No, he's in a big race like Armbro, and I know he's got lots of speed, but he just control his emotion. I think, yeah.
And obviously, you'd like to qualify this guy a few times and throw him into that elimination. Was that always your plan, or ideally, did you want to get a start into him before that elimination last time out?
No, I think that was the plan. I think qualification was more relaxed for him in the morning here, and you know, they work out. You know, that was the plan. Yeah.
And after this victory here, what's next for him? Where are we going to see him next?
I think the Vernon Down this week in the beginning of the month. Yeah, July. Yeah.
All right, we look forward to it, Luke. We look forward to seeing what he can do all summer long, and congratulations.
Hey, thank you very much.
All right, there's a Emoticon Legacy, Luke Blay Determination, Louis-Philippe Waugh capturing the good times.
Continues to trot 6th, ahead of Eugene the Genius 7th. 3 more lengths to Wild Turkey, Hanover 8th, and further back to the trailer Blank. It's a Emoticon Legacy as Waugh looks over his shoulder. He opens up 2 now. Gap Chronos takes over 2nd on the outside, landing on time, put in a brief step, still trotting there into the top 3, and behind him Galen Urso, 2nd over, but gapping right now his cover is LMC Wagon Wheel. 123 3/4, and Emoticon Legacy turns for home, and he's opened up a lead of 3 on Gap Kronos and landing on time. He tries to rally up the inside. Out to about the 3 path is Emoticon Legacy, but he's still clear by 2. Gap Kronos and landing on time, trying to close at him. LMC Wagon Wheel in behind him, but it's Emoticon Legacy good to go. And Emoticon Legacy still clear by 3. Gap Kronos second, landing on time. Third, LMC Wagon Wheel fourth. 1:50 and 2 stakes track record for Emoticon Legacy in the good times. Here's where they all finished in race 9 from the top down. 7-2-9, 1-4-3, 5-6-8 on the bottom. Up next, race 10. It's the Grade 1 Fan Hanover Stakes final. Start of the late pick 4. No show wagering available. Scratch 3 Chantilly and 8 West Winds due to sickness. The 11 duration does not draw in off the also eligible list. A field of 8 will go postward in 12 minutes.
That on display, the Mohawk Gold Cup earlier this evening, a 1:47.4 career best clocking for Brew Hanover, and then a track record in the Good Time Stakes just completed moments ago.
Yeah, that one on the trot, and it was a 3-year-old by the name of Emoticon Legacy that won in 1:50 and 2. Not only is that a track record for a 3-year-old trotter, it matches the all-time, all-age record on the trot here at Mohawk. Joined some pretty nice company. It's now a 4-way tie, joining Alaraja 1 along with Atlanta, the Great Mare, and Gaines Hanover. So a 3-year-old doing that in June really tells you this track is in tip-top shape, and we could potentially push that speed record in the North America Cup, despite maybe a little bit below seasonal temperatures.
And we've got the type of fillies coming up next in our first of our 2 showcase events this evening, the $390,000 Fan Hanover Final. Type of fillies that could threaten the record. That's maybe changed a little bit, though. Chantilly, the horse of the year in Canada last year at age 2, the undefeated Chantilly. People were really looking forward to the matchup here between her and the American champion, Mickey and Minnie, but Chantilly came up sick. That was the big news this week.
Yeah, unfortunately, had to be scratched. Her connections made the call yesterday to take her out of this race. She was less than 100%, and with a perfect record and everything she's accomplished, I don't think it would have been fair. It's probably never fair to race a horse under 100%, but in a case like this, with so much on the line and still early enough in her 3-year-old season, you understand that decision not to risk it. So she'll sit aside, and that kind of leaves Mickey and Minnie as clearly not just the horse to beat, but maybe the lock of the night. We were setting this up as a 2-horse showdown between Mickey and Minnie, the U.S.'s 2-year-old pacing filly of the year last year, and then Chantilly, who was the top 2-year-old here in Canada. It was going to be awesome to see them go head-to-head. We'll just have to wait for a later date.
Yeah, and Chantilly, there was even talk about trying the boys in the Pepsi North America Cup earlier in the year. The decision was made to bypass that race in this event tonight, but again, scratched sick. So again, it is going to be tough to beat that American Invader, Mickey and Minnie. Does open the door, though, perhaps for some others. Some very good local fillies who've been chasing the likes of Chantilly all season long get away from her tonight, but now they have to deal with Mickey and Minnie. One of those is Perfectly Chic, and earlier Jamie caught up with her trainer, John Pentland.
John Pentland joins us now, and just fresh off the track after warm-up with Perfectly Chic, how was it out there?
Yeah, it's good. It's busy out there. Yeah, I mean, most guys only go one trip nowadays, but when it's stake time, everybody's going 2 trips. It's really busy in here.
Now, you do have post 4 tonight. How are you feeling about that mid-pack leaving?
I like it. I think Bob should be able to sort of hopefully he can get who he wants in front of him and work out a good trip. I think it's down to post 3 now, as it turns out.
Yes,
so, yeah, I mean, needless to say, when we were listening to the draw on the way home last week and the 8, 9, and 10 got taken, we were pretty relieved.
I think that's a finger cross for everybody, drivers, trainers. It's like, whew, not me, good thing.
Yeah.
But like you said, down to the 3 because Chantilly is scratched. How does that change the entirety of the race?
Well, it kind of makes us going for second money instead of third money, I guess. I mean, she's a great mare, and whatever misfortune she's had this week, I guess is our fortune, or somebody's anyways, to capitalize on it. But nobody wishes bad luck on anybody.
Well, thanks for joining us here, and such an exciting time in the paddock and out, and tons of fans cheering on. So good luck tonight.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
All right, we will take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we will have the field on track for the Fan Hanover Final coming up next. We are in the winner's circle location at Woodbine Mohawk Park, Pepsi North America Cup night. That's the main event. That's the main course, if you will. We've got the appetizer coming up now. It is the $390,000 Fan Hanover Final. Many were billing this to be a big-time two-horse showdown between Chantilly and the American champion Mickey and Minnie. Again, Chantilly coming up sick earlier this week and will not go tonight. So many feel it is Mickey and Minnie's race to win or lose here as they get set to come on out to the track here for post-parade of the Fan Hanover Final. And Mickey and Minnie, her resume is impeccable. Last year she won 6 of her 11, never missed the board, made over $1 million. She was the Dan Patch Award winner in the U.S. as the 2-year-old pacing filly of the year. She won the Breeders' Crown. That was her highlight win, one of many. And she's won 8 of her last 9 coming in. Smoked home with a sub-26 second last quarter to easily win her elimination. You know, she was looking very good coming into the final. So with no Chantilly in the field, Mark, is it just that simple that it's, her race to win?
Typically, I think I would lean to the side of trying to find someone that could beat her, but I don't really think that's going to be the case here. She is a very talented filly. Trainer Chris Ryder and Dexter Dunn have just been teaming up with fantastic fillies over the last few years. You go talk about a Nikki Hill to a Twin Bee Joe Fresh, last year's U.S. Horse of the Year, who already won the Roses Are Red tonight. And now you got Mickey and Minnie. It's an embarrassment of riches. They say, Walt Disney World is the happiest place on earth? Well, in horse racing, it's the winner's circle, and I think we're probably going to see Mickey and Minnie back there in just a little bit.
Yeah, and maybe it's the Chris Ryder stable these days as well. Speaking of which, he caught up with Jamie McDonald earlier.
Chris Ryder joins us now, trainer of the 5, Mickey and Minnie. She raced phenomenal last week, coming home in 25-1, and in that afternoon card, she was the fastest last quarter of 133 horses. How phenomenal is that?
Right. That's I had been told that. So, we always love to see him coming home fast. She's come some good quarters before, but she hasn't come 25-1 until last week. So it's just good news.
And how did she come out of the race? How was she this week leading into the final here?
Yeah, very good. Left a hero of Chantel for the week and very happy with her. My help were here on Wednesday and everything's been the same, normal routine, and we're here to race.
And rewinding a little bit, maybe down memory lane, as a 2-year-old, she won the Breeders' Crown. You can't really finish better than that off your 2-year-old season. How has she grown into her 3-year-old season?
We turned her out for 6 weeks. She's growthy, but we're very pleased with her physically, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us here tonight, and good luck.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Getting to hear there from Chris Ryder. Already a good night for him, an Australian native who's been one of the premier conditioners since coming to North America a number of years ago. You talked about Twin Bee Jill Fresh. She is easily the best mare in harness racing currently. She's one of the all-time greats now, and adding to her resume earlier tonight, winning the Roses Are Red, almost $3 million on her card. And this filly, at this stage of the game, at this point in her career, looks as good as Twin Bee Joe Fresh did at that time.
Yeah, she really does. And I mean, Twin Bee Joe Fresh, I don't think it would be wrong to say that where she has gotten to over the last year and a half is something that maybe we didn't predict, just how dominant she would be. Mickey and Minnie, on the other hand, the flashes were there so early on. Twin Bee Joe Fresh as well, too. But, I mean, Mickey and Minnie last year to make over $1 million Canadian in her rookie season, to win the Breeders' Crown, to win the 3 Diamonds. As Jamie asked in that question, you couldn't finish off any better, and she's come back just beautifully, and we could be watching a true superstar. I don't want to say a superstar in the making. She already is a superstar, but she could be putting herself into that all-time conversation.
Another local hopeful, Wicked Pace. Paul Cameron trains this one, owns with his wife Jamie, along with Arnold's Horse Shack of Mississippi this season in 3 starts, but a couple of close second-place finishes knocking at the door. And who knows, maybe tonight plays Giant Killer.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, this is a very talented filly that, you're right, probably just doesn't get the love she deserves because of who she has to race behind. She was the O'Brien Award finalist for 2-year-old pacing filly of the year, but there was no doubt it was a slam dunk. It was going to be Chantilly, who was ultimately voted Horse of the Year. But Wicked Pace from, to start to now, nothing but consistent, and she's made some pretty good money for her connections.
Yeah, and for those watching that, maybe aren't as familiar with harness racing, we're speaking about Chantilly. She's not going to be competing tonight, but, had she been in the field, she and Mickey and Minnie would have been the 2 favorites for sure. But in Canada, to go undefeated and be voted overall Horse of the Year as a 2-year-old, I mean, that is exceptional. That's just something that's never done.
You don't really see that ever, right? So it just spoke volumes to what she did last season. I mean, a horse last season that made over $700,000 is this one, and you're seeing on your screen, number 2, The Last Martini. And same thing. I don't think people talk about her enough of just how talented she is. She races a lot in the New York Sire Stakes, so she kind of travels around New York. She'll race on small tracks, big tracks. She showed up for a lot of big races last year as well. She was second in the Breeders' Crown final behind Mickey and Minnie. She was second in her elimination last week to Chantilly. She's been living in their shadows, but she's made over $700,000. And maybe tonight, this is the one, if you want to make a case, I think you can make the strongest for the one that could push Mickey and Minnie.
And this is a night where we showcase the best equine talent in North America, also the best driving talent. You see the top U.S. drivers in. They're going head-to-head with our best Canadian drivers. They come from a variety of backgrounds as well. Some of the top U.S. drivers are actually down under natives, including Dexter Dunn. He came here to New Zealand, I guess, about 5 years ago now. And he's kind of been the dominant driver in North America, rewriting the record book. So, when you get a horse like Mickey and Minnie, of course, she does a lot of the work, but the good driver is that missing piece, and he always seems to have her in perfect position like he did in the elimination.
The driver that's won the most North America Cups is John Campbell. And after he retired, there's always that, will we ever see another GOAT, another greatest of all time? I know the sample size at the end of the day is only several years, but what Dexter Dunn has done so far in North America, and how he just seems to get more out of some of these horses and keep them alive, he's got himself into that greatest of all time conversation already, and a lot of that's got to do with how many great fillies he's been able to sit behind, as now once again it's him, Mickey and Minnie, another big purse, and hoping to just let it continue to ride.
9 3-year-old filly pacers chasing $390,000. It's the Fan Hanover final. And to call the action, upstairs to Chad Rosema.
Scratch down to a field of 8. Significant scratch of our reigning horse of the year, Chantilly. We'll have to wait for a big matchup between she and Mickey and Minnie, the heavy favorite here, for a little bit later on down the road. I know a crushing blow to all of us race fans and the connections. Happy birthday to George Millar, however. Does celebrate his birthday here today. Field of 8 for the Fan Hanover final. They're at the top of the stretch and gathering speed. Here they come. Away they go. They're off and pacing. An early hustle as Jamieson tries to get Wicked Pace out to the early lead. It's Wicked Pace sprinting out with Can't See Me from the inside. McNair to the top 3 with the last martini. Mickey and Minnie and Dunn off the early speed from 4th to the opening turn. She'll be tracked by Perfectly Chic, who's 5th. Then it's the Beautiful Things with a pair beat in the backfield as we see Out of This World Deo ahead of trailer Rodeo Drive Dale. Wicked Pace opens up a quick 2. 25-4 opening quarter. It's Wicked Pace taking them into the back stretch with Can't See Me the closest pursuer right now. 2 more lengths to the last martini. 3rd, make it 2 more to Mickey and Minnie, who's 4th, and about 7 off the early lead as they hit 3/8. Perfectly Chic, the 5th one. Then it's the Beautiful Things to the inside. Out of This World Dale, Rodeo Drive Dale trails. Out of the 2-hole is Can't See Me to come after leader Wicked Pace. And Wicked Pace and Can't See Me sprint here to the half in 54. Now Jamieson grabs for leather and Can't See Me takes over. It's Can't See Me leading them into this turn to 5/8. Wicked Pace in 2nd. Up to 3rd now. First up, here comes Mickey and Minnie, about 3.5 away from new leader Can't See Me. The last martini to the inside, 4th. 2nd over, 5th from McClure with Perfectly Chic. Following her, 3rd over, the Beautiful Things. Then it's back to Out of This World Dale, and starting up from last is Rodeo Drive Dale. 121 1 3/4 for Can't See Me. She swings off the last turn and leads by half a length. Mickey and Minnie cut loose down the center of the track. She takes over the lead and tries to draw clear, but check out Rodeo Drive Dale closing at the back. The last martini up the inside. Mickey and Minnie in between. Inside the last martini and Rodeo Drive Dale on the outside, but Mickey and Minnie does it. It's Mickey and Minnie to take the Fan Hanover. Rodeo Drive Dale in the last martini in 1:48.3, just a 1/5 of a second off of matching the stakes and track record.
Just missing the track record. Hard-fought win for Mickey and Minnie, proving that she is a champion. Getting it done here, Dexter Dunn. Intel 148.3. We'll be back with more in a moment. There's a look at the winner coming back. It's Mickey and Minnie, and John Rallis is catching up with the winning connections.
The Van Hanover here. Dexter Dunn, winning driver. Dex, did that race go as planned?
Well, I mean, not exactly as planned, but I was really happy where I got away. The speed was on enough, and you know, we moved up around the last turn there, and she felt, you know, fantastic, and you know, she's just all class. It was a great mile by tonight, Johnny.
You know, obviously you had to start her up again when Dave's mare was coming, Rodeo Drive Dale. How did she respond there when you asked her once again?
Yeah, no, she knuckled right back down to it, and then she was pricking her ears at the line, you know. She's a bit like that, so, you know, she's a proper racehorse. She knows her job, and, yeah, she's a dream to sit behind.
Not only are you a competitor, Dex, but you're also a big fan of the sport. You know, obviously Chantilly scratching out of this race. Were you looking forward to competing against that mare this weekend?
Yeah, I really was. You know, it would have been a really good race. Two just, you know, champion fillies, and I'm sure we're going to meet up one day. And I mean, you know, just quick shout out to the track and everyone involved, because they put a great show on, and a fantastic crowd. And you know, there's some other tracks that should take notice of the job that they're doing up here. It's great not to be racing here.
And lastly, 3 times you've won this race, 3 times Chris has won this race, but never you guys have never won it together, but tonight you have. What does that mean to you to share this success with Chris?
Oh, it means everything, you know. You know, CJ's, you know, he's an American dad, and winning big races for him's, you know, always such a pleasure.
Congrats, Dex.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, what a dynamic duo, Chris Ryder, Dexter Dunn, and they've got the horsepower to go with it. Mickey and Minnie, full marks for the win. Mark, she is a champion, and she had to prove it tonight to win.
Yeah, did she ever? I talked about her probably being the lock of the night. And yeah, she delivers, but that's not how I thought this was going to go. I thought when Dexter got away in fourth, it would be no problem for her to come maybe a slow first up and then just draw away in the lane. But Rodeo Drive Deo and the last Martini, they made her earn it. And I'm glad we saw that, because no one wanted to just see a cakewalk after the scratch of Chantilly. We thought it'd be a 2-horse race, but who's to say how this one wouldn't have gone if Chantilly was in the race? I mean, Rodeo Drive Dale on the far outside closed up so well. The last Martini had that inside trip. Rail opens up, and she keeps on digging, and you can see Dex has to go pretty deep into his filly to get the job done, but she responds like a champion does to win it.
Yeah, she did, and it looked for a brief moment in time like Rodeo Drive might be able to pick her off. She was coming with so much authority, but when it got down to crunch time, she leveled off a little bit, probably got a little tired after that big rally. Mickey and Minnie, on the other hand, as Dexter said, you know, the years went back up. She found another gear, and she needed it. So full marks for that victory, 148-3. Congratulations, the ownership group, Craig Henderson of Illinois, Robert Bundillo of Ohio, and Lawrence Minowitz of Connecticut, all share in the ownership of this one, and they will be ecstatic for sure. Mickey and Minnie, with her share of the purse going a little over $1.4 million now in career earnings. We've got an objection launched here, and I believe it's maybe on the 4th place finisher. We're looking behind us here, Wicked Pace, and there was a little confusion when we had a look at that stretch drive replay, Mark. You could see that as Wicked Pace got shuffled back a little bit. The horse in front of her was tiring, tried to get to the outside, a little bit rough gated. We didn't see at the time anything definitive that happened, but now an objection and inquiry.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of objections in harness racing. Typically, that inquiry sign will just come up. Everything is watched pretty closely over the course of a mile race, but with the big money on the line, you can understand everybody wants to have a fair shake here, so we will have to wait and see. It's not going to impact the winner. Mickey and Mickey will be fine, and you can see the celebration continuing, but for those that are got some bets on this race and they've laid some money on the line, if you played a superfecta, let's say, that 4th place really matters to you, and you want to find out, not to mention pretty good money going to the connections of whoever could either hold that spot or potentially be vaulted up.
Well, right now, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, hopefully things will be sorted out, and we'll get you those official prices after this. Welcome back. Here's a look at what the racing officials are looking at. There is Wicked Pace, number 6, down along the inside, sitting second here. They've got a couple of different vantage points, and the question is, was there room to make the move to the outside here? You can see where the horse gets a little bit rough gated as things get congested there, and they're trying to get that sorted out. So we are still unofficial here with the results of the Fan Hanover. So we'll take a moment and we'll start thinking ahead to this year's Pepsi North America Cup. One gentleman that has had a good night so far, he's had a really good year, is Dale Hunter, the former NHLer, winningest coach in the history of the Memorial Cup. This year winning his 3rd title in that prestigious Canadian Hockey League tournament, and he was the winningest coach in the preliminaries of that. He got his 15th overall win in Memorial Cup action to become the winningest coach. Only NHLer in history, Mark McKelvey, with 1,000 points and 3,000 penalty minutes. That's incredible.
Rugged, to say the least, on the ice. Very talented, and then transitioning into his coaching career, arguably the greatest junior hockey coach of all time. I would say he should be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame one day. You look at those numbers, not to mention what he's now done with the London Knights and the dynasty that he and his brother Mark have created there. But tonight it's not about hockey, it's about the racetrack.
That's right. They were here tonight with the London Knights team bus and a big load of people on that. And another bus came in later on. Dale, co-owner on 2 horses competing tonight. His Silver Walls won earlier. He's got Crackshot in the Pepsi North America Cup. And Mark caught up with Dale a little bit earlier this afternoon for his thoughts.
In tonight's Pepsi North America Cup, Crackshot has certainly got a big cheering section on site here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, and the person that might be cheering the loudest is his co-owner, Dale Hunter. Dale, congratulations first on the Memorial Cup victory with the London Knights, capping off an incredible season. But there's one more cup to get, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. But when you win the Memorial Cup, it's awesome. As young kids wanted it bad, and they played well. And tonight, I hope Crackshot plays well too.
Well, yeah, he's got to show up and do his job as well. But I mean, you talk about what's been just kind of a marvelous run over the last couple of months, really, when you think about it, winning the J. Ross Robertson Cup, then the Memorial Cup. What was that experience like? You've done it before, but did it vary any different compared to those past years this time?
No, it's like, it varies a bit, different kids, but something though, I had a great bunch of kids that wanted to win, and it's easy. It's easy coaching, and it's like, it's fun. It's fun to win, and it's a challenge though. There were good teams out there.
Well, tonight, Crackshot's got 9 rivals. It's not just one team to play against.
Yes.
He's got to go up against 9. How are you feeling going into this moment? Because it's not every day you get to race a horse in $1 million event.
I think it's a one-time event for me. I will, it's like special to be here, and it's like I enjoy it. My dad enjoyed it, and for to be here with Crackshot, whatever happens, we're going to enjoy it.
Absolutely, that's all you can do. My last question for you is, when you think about the fact that you've got your fingerprints all over that Memorial Cup, and you got to push the buttons, you've got to make a lot of decisions as the coach, and here tonight it's kind of out of your hands as an owner of a horse. You've got a great team in Team McNair, but what's that like, kind of to be hands off and just watch it?
Oh, it's like I'm owner, coach.
Yeah.
And the owner comes down and tells you, but he's not involved, so I don't get involved in it. Let Greg, he's a good trainer, and Dougie's a great driver. I'll let them do it, and that's what their job is. And again, they're like, it's a sports event.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, it's excitement before that gets your butterflies in your stomach. And that's what about hockey and harness racing. It's the butterflies that you don't know what's going to happen.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck here tonight, and welcome to Mohawk.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, it's Crackshot, 1 of 10 in the Pepsi North America Cup.
All right, that was earlier tonight. Great that you were able to catch up with Dale, Mark. Already a good night for them. They're hoping that they can win a Pepsi NA Cup and Memorial Cup in the same year. Wouldn't that be something? The Pepsi North America Cup, our thoroughbred equivalent to that, the King's Plate, coming up in a couple of months.
August 16th, the first jewel of the OLG Canadian Triple Crown. It is the longest continuously run stakes race in North America, and we will add to that history on the 16th of August. Tickets on sale now, and already looking forward to that. Summer's going to fly by, but the 16th of August is certainly circled.
America Cup final. Can't cheer for them all, or can you? It's a great one. Here we go. Sprint is on with $1 million on the line. Captain's quarters leads the way. Here comes Nijinsky breathing fire. Drawn clear. Nijinsky hauls home the Pepsi North America Cup in 1:48.1, a perfect second over Tripp, and Waugh parlays it into a $1 million score.
The Pepsi North America Cup, $1 million, the main event. It is on deck, and we'll meet the field in just a few moments. We can tell you they've got things sorted out in the fan Hanover. There was no placing, so the results did stand as they were posted. So the fan Hanover gets put to bed. Now it's time to set our sights on this year's Pepsi NA Cup, and it's the 42nd edition of this prestigious event, and it moved here to Mohawk Racetrack a few years ago, the third home in the history of this event. Time now to take a look back, this retrospective of the North America Cup. Formerly known as the Queen City Pace, the event was run from 1964 to 1983 at the famous Greenwood Raceway. Second to last edition was won by the great Cam Fella in 1982.
And with that, the Pepsi North America Cup, or at least then the North America Cup, got underway in 1984. Tonight marks the 42nd edition. It was legal notice for Dr. John Hayes that won the inaugural edition.
Fast forward to 1989. The biggest upset in NA Cup history occurred on that night. It was Goalie Jeff, the local horse, getting it done, returning 93.60 on the nose.
Throughout the course of this race, it has changed venues a couple of times, and that's exactly what happened in 1994 when the race moved from Greenwood to Woodbine Racetrack, and it was Cam's Card Shark and who else? John Campbell that won the first at the Toronto Oval.
Yes, indeed, John Campbell, you mentioned him, and he is the winningest driver in the history of the event. He's won it 6 times. In fact, did it 6 times in a span of 9 years, his last there in 1999.
A lot of famous horses have won the North America Cup, and in 2000 it was Gallo Blue Chip, one of the richest horses of all time, that took the Y2K edition for Dan Dubé and Mark Ford.
2007, the event moved to its new home and current home, beautiful Woodbine Mohawk Park. 2007 edition there, big crowds, and they continue to today.
Well, after Tell All won the first edition here in Campbellville, the next year it was the GOAT. Some beach, somewhere. I still get chills watching that one back. This place was electric.
2019, the fastest ever edition of this event. One of Nancy Tachter's 2 wins in the NA Cup came with Captain Crunch, a sparkling 147.2.
Maybe they'll challenge that tonight. Last year, Nijinsky, well, he put up a big-time performance, winning a first cup for driver Louis-Philippe Waugh and trainer Tony Beaton. Both of them back here this evening.
A rich history, a new chapter will take place this year. And there's a look at the complete field of 10, along with the current odds for this year's Pepsi North America Cup. Now it's time to meet the field in depth.
Today, I know that you're keeping them on today. Yeah, I didn't think the track was quite deep enough for her. She needs it to be.
First up is Captain Optimistic, one of the top 2-year-olds in North America last season. He'll look to give Nancy Tachter her 3rd victory in this event. Dexter Dunn, one of the best drivers in the sport, looking for his first NA Cup title.
Crack Shot has got a huge cheering section here tonight as Dale Hunter tries to win another cup. Goes for the father-son team of Greg and Doug McNair. He was last season's Ontario Sire Stakes champion.
And the Ideal, a son of a former North America Cup finalist, American Ideal. He won half of his 10 last year as a rookie. He was 3rd in his elimination. Hunter Oakes, the trainer, Jason Bartlett, the driver, looking for their first NA Cup trophy.
Fast Choice was the last horse to qualify for the NA Cup final. Scott Zeron is looking for his 3rd Cup victory. Meanwhile, it's the husband-wife team of Ashley and Jared Bako. It's their Cup debut.
Joel and the Jets, one of two in the field for Dr. Ian Moore. He's been the runner-up in this event before. He'll try and win tonight. He's got two opportunities. Louis Philippe, the defending driving champion.
Light up the world. Speaking of defending champions, it was trainer Tony Beaton that won last year with Nijinsky. He turns to Woodbine's leading driver James McDonald. Light up the world was the quickest elimination winner last week.
And Lou Print, he is the talk of the town coming in, undefeated in 4 this season, looking to give Ron Burke, the trainer, his second title, and it's the debut tonight for driver Ronnie Wren.
Madden Oaks, he caught eyes last week when he was surging 3 wide going to the half. He went a tough trip, but he hung on to qualify for the final. Young driver Braxton Boyd, young trainer Cameron Capone make their Cup debut.
Prince Hal Hanover, the other Dr. Ian Moore entrant in the field, saddled with post 9, but he was charging late, just missed in his elimination, and gives Moore that formidable 1-2 punch tonight in the final.
And speaking of 1-2 punches, Ron Burke, of course, he has got the main contender in Lou Print, but he also sends out Swingtown. This is a speedy colt, Yannick Gingras, looking for his second Cup victory as he'll sit behind.
Another great group this year assembled, 10 of the finest in North America. And right now, early on, we're seeing a little bit of a discrepancy in the odds from the morning line where Lou Print was heavily favored at 7-5, but right now the public having a tough time deciding between 3 or 4 of the major contenders.
I think Lou Print is maybe the most talented horse in the field, and I think that morning line, that's probably where I would have gone, thinking he would take a lot of support. But I'm just wondering because, and as we'll dive deeper into this field in a moment, when you look to the outside of the gate, Prince Hal Hanover and Madden Oaks are 2 horses everyone's expecting to go, which means there's going to be a ton of action, a lot happening. Where does Lou Print end up in all of this? And could it set up for a closer? He's probably going to try and get himself pretty close. Driver Ronnie Wren wins a ton in this sport, but this is the biggest race of his career, and I'm wondering if there's just some question marks that are leaning others to put a little money in different directions.
And I think a lot of people believe that if there is a setup for a closer, it's going to be Light Up the World, the horse that will benefit. He was raging from far back in his elimination to win, and he's trained by Tony Beaton, who won this event last year with Nijinsky. All right, let's head back out to the paddock and catch up once again with Jamie McDonald.
Earlier this week, we took a trip over to Classy Lane to catch up with trainer Anthony Beaton and his horse Light Up the World coming into tonight's North America Cup.
Hi, I'm Anthony Beaton, and I'll be racing Light Up the World tonight, North American Cup. Well, last year, obviously, we had kind of 2 headliners there heading into the Cup. We thought we had a very good chance with either one, and unfortunately Legendary got caught first up, but he did tow Nijinsky into the race, and Louis got a great trip on James's back and tipped out and got the job done for us, which was very exciting. And this year coming in, we got James, hopefully we get James's North American Cup, and you know, it Light Up the World. He's been a very nice colt all along, and we had high expectations for him last year, and he just got sidelined by an injury, and we tried to get him back for the Breeders' Crown at the end of the year, but where them colts were going in more seasons, we just decided to shut him down, and hopefully he'd come back good this year, and he's come back exceptional.
Light Up the World starts to roll from the back, and Light Up the World unleashed by McDonald, and he goes right by them all. Light Up the World picks up the pieces late.
When we put him back to work there in January, everything's been great so far, and as we start training down, he just showed like he was back to where he was last year, which we were very hopeful for, and that he'd come back and be that little bit more mature and grow up. Myself, I didn't think I'd probably have anywhere near this caliber of horses, and like I was saying to myself there yesterday, you know, this is our 3rd year in a row we're going to be in it, and I've been very fortunate to have them 2 last year, and this full of coming in, Light Up the World this year. It's not going to be easy, and they're not going to gift wrap it for you, but you're very fortunate to win one of these, let alone 2. So if we could do it 2 years in a row, that'd be awesome.
So Anthony Beaton trying to do something that very few have done in the history of this event, and that is to win back-to-back Pepsi North America Cup titles. And a much different profile for him coming in this year, Mark, where last year he had that really formidable 1-2 punch. This year it's a lesser-known horse, but one that may be trending in the right direction.
But a horse that last season I saw come out and debut and thought he was just going to follow in the path of a Nijinsky and a legendary Hanover. He's got the talent, just doesn't have as many starts as some of them, but this year he clearly showed what he's made of in that elimination and will be a big-time player.
All right, we've got the light show happening here. Things are revving up. We are just a few moments away from meeting the field for this year's $1 million Pepsi North America Cup. The excitement building to a fever pitch here, just a few moments away from meeting the field for this year's Pepsi North America Cup. We're getting word that they are getting set to exit the paddock in just moments from now. We've been tracking the odds again, not seeing much of a shift. Again, public having a real tough time choosing between Lou Print, Light Up the World, and that other elimination winner from a week ago, Captain Optimistic.
Captain Optimistic's probably being talked about the least, at least in these circles around Mohawk Park this week after his elimination win. It was by far the slowest, but I thought he showed some pretty good determination, and he's a proven horse in some of these big races. Last year, he won the Governor's Cup. If you look back to last season, these two-year-olds, who's going to be the horse coming into the NA Cup? Typically, you look at a race like the Metro Pace, the Breeders' Crown, and the Governor's Cup. Well, the Metro Pace winner Fallout failed to make the final. The Breeders' Crown winner Lou Print, as we talked about, main contender, and then Captain Optimistic won the Governor's Cup, and he's here as well. So the horses that we were pegging coming into this season to be big-time players, for the most part, have shown up, and they're here tonight for the $1 million Pepsi North America Cup.
And Captain Optimistic, trained by Nancy Tactor. She's won this event twice, and she knows what it takes. She knows what kind of a horse you need. She knows how to have the horses rigged up properly for this track. Speaking of which, a big shoeing change for that horse tonight as well, going to aluminum shoes. So maybe looking for just even a little bit more speed from him tonight, and he's got the resume certainly to get it done. Amazingly, Dexter Dunn, the driver, still looking for his first Pepsi North America Cup title, but he got a big win under his belt in that last race with Mickey and Minnie. Earlier one with the great twin B. Jill Fresh, so he'll be brimming with confidence coming in. But let's meet the field now in post position order, and here's fast choice number 1. A bargain basement $13,000 yearling purchase out of the Lexington sale. Now a chance to race for $1 million. Jared Bako, native of London, Ontario, now applies his trade south of the border. His wife, Ashley Bako, the owner of this one. And Scott Zeron, known as the Money Man. He's won this event before, and he'll be on board Fast Choice, one of the long shots in the field.
Number 2 in this year's NA Cup is Dandy Ideal. It's the Cup debut for trainer Hunter Oakes and driver Jason Bartlett. Bartlett's a winner of over 11,000 races in his career, and here he gets his Cup debut with a horse that was sneaky good in his elimination to qualify. 5 wins in 12 career starts.
Louis-Philippe Bois won the event last year with Nijinsky. His chances this year pinned on number 3, Joel and the Jets, one of 2 in the field for trainer Dr. Ian Moore. His best finish in this event, a second place effort in 2020 with Tattoo Artist. Joel and the Jets, one of 2 in the field for Dr. Ian Moore. Just 2 starts under his belt this year, 1 win, 1 runner-up finish.
There's number 4, Blueprint. He was the winter book favorite for the North America Cup, and here he is trying to give trainer Ron Burke his 2nd win in this event. This will be his 12th Cup starter. Meanwhile, for driver Ronnie Wren, it's his Cup debut. 11 for 14, $1.1 million in earnings for the 4, Blueprint.
Light up the world, your post 5 starter. A really impressive off-the-pace win in his elimination, trying to give trainer Anthony Beaton back-to-back wins in the Pepsi NA Cup. Canada's kingpin, James McDonald, looking for his first title. And this colt is in form coming in, 3 for 4 on the season.
Number 6 is Captain Optimistic, 8 wins in 13 career starts. In fact, he has finished in the top 3 in 12 of those 13 efforts. Nancy Tactor has won this race twice. She did it in back-to-back years, 2019 Captain Crunch, 2020 Tall Dark Stranger, and Dexter Dunn. This is going to be his 5th Cup appearance. He was 2nd back in 2019 with Better's Wish.
Trainer Ron Burke, he's won everything there is to win in the sport of harness racing, including a Pepsi North America Cup title back in 2014. It's been a few years, though, between victories for him. He's got a couple of chances in here, and one of them, number 7, Swingtown. Yannick Gingras won back in 2020 with the great Tall Dark Stranger. That with 4 NA.
With just $46,000 in earnings, he goes into the record books as having close to the fewest earnings of any Cup starter ever. So maybe under the radar, but this guy got noticed last week.
And that is your field of 10. What a showdown straight ahead. You're watching Primetime Racing's coverage of the Pepsi North America Cup.
Almost time for the NA Cup, but coming up on August 16th, it is the King's Plate, the oldest continuously run stakes race in North American horse racing, and you'll want to be there to rule the day. August 16th, the King's Plate. Go to kingsplate.com for more information.
And on that same day, down on the East Coast, Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, one of the biggest spectacles in all of Canadian harness racing. It is the $100,000 Gold Cup and Saucer. Caps off Old Home Week, one of the busiest and most exciting weeks of racing anywhere in North America. We've got the Pepsi North America Cup straight ahead, and we want to take you back quickly and show you what transpired last week in the three very exciting eliminations. The first one was a hard-fought win for Captain Optimistic.
Yeah, no doubt it was. You see him in the center there for Dexter Dunn, and he's put down to the drive, being challenged by rivals from all over, and you can see the rail opening up for Joel and the Jets, who was trying to get on through, but it was Captain Optimistic. It was the slowest of the eliminations, but maybe time doesn't matter. It was 150-2.
And you can just barely see him on the far left-hand side of the screen right now as the field turns for home. This is Light Up the World, lighting up the home stretch in his elim.
Last to first, sweeps the field. The fractions were red hot, and it set up beautifully for Light Up the World. A great bounce-back score after he got beat as the heavy favorite 2 starts ago, and James McDonald just let him set sail. He won in 148-3.
And a different approach for Luke Print. He got away in good order off the gate, made a move to the front in the second quarter, controlled it from there, and then had to hold off a hard-charging Prince Hal Hanover. Found the wire in time for trainer Ronnie Burke and driver Ronnie Wren, and punches his ticket into tonight's $1 million big dance. Here's an overlay of all three elimination winners based on time. So if you put everything into the final time of the race, this is how, you might see them stacking up coming into tonight. But as you said, they don't write the time on the check.
No, and they all did it in different ways. You got to find a way to get it done here tonight. But, Greg, I mentioned it earlier. I'm expecting a ton of early action, outside speed, and I think if you're James McDonald, you have to anticipate that, and you take back. And it's got to be tough to do that with an elimination winner because you want to be up close. You want to obviously get in and get the feel for it. But I think with the way his horse can kick home, it makes sense for him to be sitting back hoping that it sets up.
So it looks like the starting gate is getting into position. It is crunch time here. Final look at the odds board. Lou Print is now the solid 9-5 choice. Second choices at 5-2. Light Up the World and Captain Optimistic. Gentleman who will be calling his first Pepsi North America Cup, Chad Rosema, with the call.
$1 million Pepsi North America Cup. Great looking field assembled, inside out. Elim winners getting all the respect right now with Lou Print, Light Up the World, and Captain Optimistic. We've got everything in this race. A lot of storylines. Should be another awesome edition. Here they come for Cup 42. And a perfect start. And away they go. They're off and pacing and blast off for Swingtown from the 7-hole. He leads out of there for Gingras with Joel and the Jets to his inside. Madden Oaks drives out from the 10-hole in the top 3 for Boyd. There's Lou Print just lurking, not committing to the inside just yet. He's outside in 4th as they race into the opening turn. It's going to be Madden Oaks taking over the lead. Swingtown into the 2-hole. Joel and the Jets tracking 3rd. Lou Print still not down to the inside. Dandy Ideal in 5th after a 26-second opening quarter. Captain Optimistic is parked out on the outside in 6th. Inside is Fast Choice. Then following is Light Up the World. Yet to see the pylons. We're back to Crack Shot. Prince Hal Hanover, the early trailer. Madden Oaks leads. Wren pushes the pedal now with Lou Print. Down to the floor he goes, and Lou Print sweeping up on the outside to take over the lead. He gets him down to the half in 53-1. Lou Print now leads. Dandy Ideal a first up, second. Madden Oaks in the pocket, third. third. Second overgapping cover, slightly fourth. And on the line there is Captain Optimistic. Inside is Swingtown fifth. Light Up the World is about 8 or 9 off the lead right now from 6 to the inside. Joel and the Jets. Then Fast Choice, Crackshot, and Prince Hell. Hanover, Blueprint with a half-length lead to 3/4 in 1:19.1. That's the fastest 3/4 in the history of the Cup. And Blueprint turns for home. He's got a lead of 2. Madden Oaks trying to rally up the inside. Dandy Ideal. Captain Optimistic better in the straightaway. He starts to close. Madden Oaks up the inside. And Blueprint trying to fend him off. A couple of Cup rookies battling it out right down to the wire. Inside is Madden Oaks. Blueprint comes back to win it. It's Blueprint over Madden Oaks and Fast Choice. He won 47-1. Stakes and track record.
Wow, how exciting was that? Chad Rozema, in his first ever Pepsi North America Cup call, well, he gets one of the greatest in the history of the event, 47-1. It is a track and stakes record performance for Blueprint, and I thought he was beat. Mark coming to the wire, a Herculean effort from Madden Oaks, but Blueprint finds just that little bit more when it counted.
Just incredible performance from Blueprint, a horse that maybe I questioned if he was going to be able to pull this one out with what I was anticipating, and he showed that the bottom is endless, the heart, it is huge. Ronnie Wren pushing him to get there to the wire, fending off Madden Oaks, who again, you can't take anything away from this horse. Left from the 10-hole, sizzling fractions, and he's coming on and he comes up just short. But for Blueprint to get them to 3/4 in 1:19.1, the fastest 3/4 time in the history of this race, the fastest 3/4 time in the history of this racetrack, to hold on. The backfield had to think they're going to come to us at some point. It wasn't the case.
Madden Oaks at odds of 53-1 finishing second, and Fast Choice at 63-1. He was charging late and finishing third. He was closing fastest of all.
Just incredible to see a couple of these horses that we had pegged as kind of outsiders, so to speak. 62-1, 63-1 on Fast Choice. Meanwhile, 53-1 on Madden Oaks, and they're going to round out the try. End of the day, you got 9-5 on Blueprint. You're not getting that price on him for a very long time now.
And there are the very happy winners' connections. Ron Burke, first win since 2014, the first in this event for Ronnie Wren Jr. Let's go to John Rallis now for some comments.
I didn't give him a great trip, but you know, he's a terrific horse. Like, he raced really well.
You know, there was a lot of chatter last week. Obviously, you won by the slimmest of margins. What did you think of that performance as well, Ronnie? And was there any doubt in your mind that you think you could bounce back with an even bigger performance like this?
You know, last week, he was really good. You know, he went easy even though it was close. You know, David did surprise me late to be able to back out and have pace like that finishing. But I'm just really happy with the horse.
Talk about tonight, though. Obviously, you get away fourth. They're going quick panels, and you power move to the lead. Fastest 3/4 pace in this North America Cup. Were you confident you'd have enough left in the stretch?
Well, he's, like I said, he's a terrific horse, and he showed it tonight. It wasn't ideal to go that fast to 3/4, but, you know, that's the card I was dealt.
Obviously, when you think about your roots, where you came from, and just how your journey has kind of progressed here, Ronnie, can you even put it into words about this moment?
No, I feel like I'm dreaming right now, and it's just really special. You know, my mom's at home. I love you. We did it.
And, you know, obviously it's been a tough year, though, Ronnie, but this is a big moment. This colt has kind of kept your spirits high. I mean, you did it for more than just yourself tonight, I'm sure.
Yeah, right here in my arm. My good buddy passed away a couple months ago. It really affected the whole harness racing industry, and, you know, he was here with me tonight. We got the job done.
Ronnie, congratulations. Go enjoy this one. You deserved it.
Thanks, man.
An emotional Ronnie Wren there, and he's talking about Hunter Myers, referring to him, a young driver who unfortunately killed in a racing accident just a couple of months ago, and the entire harness racing world mourning that, and he was a good friend and competitor to Ronnie Wren. So, you know, he was traveling with him tonight, and there you see the green armband on him. And for Wren, a big moment. He's one of the winningest drivers in North America over the last several seasons, but we didn't know his name as much on the Grand Circuit. So a win like this could really propel him to new heights.
I thought that last year when he won the Breeders' Crown, what could this do for his career? But then you think about it, he was driving a 2-year-old colt, and you look ahead at what the season could look like at 3. This is the first major race. There's races like the Meadowlands Pace, the Little Brown Jug, another Breeders' Crown on the radar. Ronnie Wren's going to be in all of them with this guy. And credit to Ron Burke, because Ron Burke has a good relationship with a lot of the top drivers on the Grand Circuit, Yannick Gingras, David Miller, Dexter Dunn. But he stuck with a guy, Ronnie Wren, who drives for him an awful lot in Ohio and Pennsylvania, gave him a good colt to drive, and look what they're getting done. It's incredible. I'll tell you, Ronnie Wren, I didn't know him until last Saturday, had a quick conversation with him. You can just tell he's a humble individual, and you heard it in the interview there. Really happy for him, and he's going to let this one soak in, and maybe going forward, we see him in more of these big-time races. It's probably not a maybe. It's certainly something we're going to see, but I think he's the kind of guy that just loves his racing roots. He's got a Michigan roots. He used to drive at Windsor Raceway when he first got started, so he knows a little bit about Ontario racing. In fact, there was a race almost, I guess, over a decade ago where you had Doug McNair, James McDonald, and Ronnie Wren, all just young guys trying to cut their teeth, and they were in a $4,000 race at Windsor Raceway. So you got to start somewhere and get to moments like these.
Yeah, for sure. And for trainer Ron Burke, everything kind of comes full circle as well. This one, a true homebred for his operation. He campaigned the sire, Sweet Lou. He fell short in the North America Cup, but he had a great career on the racetrack, and he's become one of the sport's top sires. Lou Print does one better and now has a Pepsi North America Cup title to add to his impressive resume, which already includes the Breeders' Crown title at 2 and a Dan Patch Award as 2-year-old Pacing Colt of the Year. We're going to go back over to Jamie McDonald, who caught up with the runner-up.
I'm here with driver of the 10, Madden Oaks, driver Braxton Boyd. Take us through that trip. It was a phenomenal battle down the stretch.
I was kind of going behind the gate, not really with any plan at all, and by God, I saw a lot more people ducking than I thought, so I was just like, screw this. I'm going to the front. And, once Ronnie come, that's the horse to follow. So, I thought it worked out absolutely perfect, and I was trying to find some room there at the top of the stretch, and I went left, and, Ronnie's horse kind of drifted a little like he did last week, and I got up the rail, and I thought we were going to get him, but second's pretty sweet.
Second is amazing. It was high fives all around from between everyone here with the horse. Congratulations. What a thrill it is to be in this race.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I hope I get to do it again, but by God, at least we got a good piece of it when we did it.
Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing that footage up there on your helmet.
Hey, I am too. They might have to bleep out some stuff, but hey, we were having fun.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right, that's some great stuff, Braxton Boyd. I hadn't heard him interviewed before. He's a character, and boy, he is going to relish this moment.
He certainly is. I messaged him earlier today about something happening at the track earlier on, if he'd be around. You know what he said? Just an honor to be in it. Well, guess what? You almost won it. Great effort.
Absolutely. Well done. And there is Ron Burke. Speaking of well done, a second NA Cup title for him. Hoists the trophy, as does Ronnie Wren with his first. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. What an exciting edition of this year's Pepsi North America Cup. Here are the pari-mutuel details, and for anyone that cashed here, they are going to be all smiles. Blueprint, the favorite, getting it done, but then a host of long shots in behind, triggering some massive payouts, including a dollar trifecta worth more than $3,300. The exacta, $296.90 on a $2 ticket. And the superfecta, $1 ticket, I believe I saw the price come up there at $47,000 and change, if I'm not mistaken. And that is with a $5.80 winning favorite. Just incredible. So maybe some new records set in the payout department this year as well. Welcoming you back into the Winter Circle location, our John Rallis has more of the winning connections.
Which is the 42nd edition of the Pepsi North America Cup. I'm here with winning co-owner and breeder Ronnie Burke and trainer as well. Ronnie, I mean, talk me through your week and what was your nerves going into this race tonight?
It was funny. Like, he didn't even have the best week. Like, he was coughing a couple times. I think that smog actually last week might have affected him a little bit. And finally, yesterday I felt like, yeah, everything's back to normal. We're ready to go. And tonight, he was ready. I knew he was good and he was ready to go. And Ronnie was worried that he had raced him too hard, but, when you think you have the best colt, you put him on the front at some point and let him come get him. So, I'm awful proud of him. He raced hard, but, I have all the faith in the world in this colt.
Given the way the mile kind of shaked out, how important were those victories that we spoke of earlier on, the measured victories, the easy trips? How important was it going into a race like this, given his performance tonight?
No, that's what we knew we needed tonight. We're going to have to throw down and we're going to have to race. There was going to be no earplugs grabbing him at the wire. It was going to be full out. So, he's a great horse. He's, flawless gaited. He's just, he's actually an improvement, I think, on his sire, which I didn't think I would ever say.
You had horses coming from the inside at the top of the lane. You had horses coming from the outside. I mean, how impressed were you with the way he fought on and just kept moving forward?
I never lost faith. I thought he was a winner from the top of the lane down. Like, he just digs. He knows how to win. If you look at his career, if he's in the front, he's very hard to get around.
Just talk about the way your relationship with Ronnie Wren. Obviously, you got a chance to drive for you a few years ago. For this moment for him, it's a big moment. Obviously, you can let other guys also sit behind some of these talented colts, but your confidence in him never wavered. Just talk about that.
Yeah, no, there's no moment too big for Ronnie. He's, mentally, he's very sharp. He doesn't get, I get more excited, I think, before the races than he did, and I've been in all these races, so it's not a question of that. Legend. The kid's a great driver, and he's, going to get more opportunities from me and other people. So, I have great drivers that drive for me, and he's just another one.
Another North America Cup for you, but this one with a homebred, a son of Sweet Lou, no less. Does this have extra meaning for you tonight?
Oh, for sure. We're the owners, we're the breeders. It's a complete different. It's first one without my dad.
Congratulations, Ronnie. Enjoy this one.
Thanks.
Blueprint, Ronnie Wren, Ron Burke getting it done here in the Pepsi North America Cup.
Yeah, an incredibly emotional win all the way around for Ronnie Wren, the driver, Ronnie Burke there. And some big, big words when he says that he thinks Blueprint is maybe a step better than Sweet Lou. That's high praise.
It is. Sweet Lou is a world champion. He's been a prolific sire. I mean, he was a beast on the racetrack. So what's that tell you about Blueprint? What we saw tonight was certainly beast-like material from Blueprint to win this one. And we'll take a look at that stretch duel again. It was something special.
Really incredible fractions, as you mentioned, a record time to 3/4, and not many can withstand that and then hold off rivals late in a mile like this, 47-1. It took a track and stakes record performance for Blueprint to get it done, and I would say he was actually headed at one point in the stretch.
He might have been there. You're
not
right.
by much, but he had to surge back on and win.
That is close. I mean, we know Blueprint won, but when you really get down into the thick of things there, what's he win by half a head? I mean, Madden Oaks nearly pulled off the shocker for the ages. We talked earlier about goalie Jeff having the record. It was nearly Madden Oaks having the record for the biggest upset in Cup history, but instead, it's Blueprint. And again, there must have been a little bit of doubt, or people thought this was a bit of a more wide open race, because the price you got at him, maybe in hindsight, one day we'll look back and say that was a steal.
It's called the North America Cup, and it truly is North America's race. And tonight, the night belonged to Michigan, as Michigan drivers finished 1-2, and a couple of rookies in the event as well. Hope you enjoyed the coverage tonight. Got some coverage of our thoroughbred counterpart coming up soon as well.
Well, that was the most prestigious race in Canadian harness racing. The most prestigious race in Canadian thoroughbred racing is the King's Plate. Don't miss it. It comes up on Saturday, August 16th. Go to kingsplate.com to learn more. Get your tickets now.
And that evening, it is the $100,000 Gold Cup and Saucer, one of the most prestigious harness events in North America, taking place there. $100,000 final, which wraps up Old Home Week racing in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, on August 16th. And that is going to do it for this evening. An electrifying edition of the North America Cup, and the night belongs to Lou Print. Trainer Ron Burke, driver Ronnie Wren, they team up, and they do it in record time, 1:47.1, putting the finishing touches on what has been another outstanding edition of the North America Cup at Canada's showplace of racing, Woodbine Mohawk Park. So long, and we'll see you next time on Primetime Racing.